All right, so all NHL round one game sixes have concluded. We have a fair amount of game sevens that are going to happen now, with the series being tied 3-3 and a number of different series. So very good series so far in the NHL. Entertaining for me as a person who doesn't have a team in the playoffs this season. Even without that, I'm still very excited for these playoffs. So yeah, first we have the Bruins tying up the series at 3 apiece, winning 5-2 over the Hurricanes in Game 6. So yeah, really, really good game. In the first period, there was no goals in the first period, but there was a lot of action with the goalies, good saves going around. The first goal of the game came early in the second with Brad Marchand getting a goal for Boston, making it 1-0. That was less than a minute into the second. Charlie Coyle got one for Boston towards the end of the second, so it made it 2-0. And they were on pace for a good ending, as not allowing any goals from Carolina. Andrei Svechnikov, though, did get Carolina on the board, with the Hurricanes scoring about 3.5 minutes into the third. Really nice goal from Svechnikov, and then made it 2-1. However, the Bruins went up 3-1 after Eric Haula scored for them, and that was also midway through the third period. And then Derek Forbort scored one for Boston as well, so made it 4-1, and then they capped off the game with a Curtis Lazar goal and making it 5-1. And then Svechnikov got a second of the game with just a few minutes left. I think there was 2 minutes left, and so yeah, the game was over at that point, and the Bruins tied up the series. We have a game 7 going on now. Next, we have a really, really good game. The Lightning force a game 7 with an overtime victory over the Maple Leafs. That's really nerve-wracking for the Lightning, because at that point in overtime, if they allow a goal, not only do they lose the game, but they lose the series. And so, yeah, they did end up winning in overtime. So the first goal was from Andre Palat, and that was in the there was about 2 minutes left in the first period, and it was a pretty good goal from him. It was a breakaway. It was a bad turnover by Toronto. In the second period, though, Anthony Cirelli got them up 2-0. And that lead wasn't necessarily safe, though, because of course, Toronto came back. Austin Matthews got them on the board. 8 minutes left in the second. Tavares scored with less than a minute left in the second period, making it 2-2. So we had a tied game right towards the end of the second period, and then Tavares got one with 8 seconds left on the clock. So I made it 3-2. And then we head into the third period, where the Lightning kind of stole the momentum, made it 3-3 with Kucherov scoring about halfway through the third. And then eventually they won it in overtime with a Braden Point goal towards the end of the first overtime period. It was a really good goal from Point. I mean, it was a very well-executed play, very good pass, and they won it 4-3. So we have a Game 7 in that series. Next, we have a series ending. We have the St. Louis Blues defeating the Wild 5-1 in Game 6, and then they will advance to the next round. So yeah, in this game, the first goal came from Nick Leddy, and interesting enough, the Wild had Cam Talbot in net, not Fleury, so that was interesting to note. Nick Leddy got the first goal for the Blues about 15 minutes into the game, and so that made it 1-0. In the second period, Ryan O'Reilly made them up 2-0. Tyler Bozak put them up 3-0, and the Blues were just absolutely killing it. Vladimir Tarasenko put them up 4-0. And, the only Minnesota goal in the first goal came in the third from Matthew Dumba, so I made it 4-1, but it was over when, they got a goal. The Blues got a goal on the empty net. Colton Parayeko got one, and so that made it 5-1, and they won the series. Next, we have another series going to 7 games. The LA Kings lose to the Oilers 4-2. This is also a pretty good game. Vander Kane has been shining this whole playoffs, and he did good in this one. Connor McDavid got a goal for the Oilers just a minute and a half into the game, putting him up 1-0. In the second period, Evander Kane scored for the Oilers, making it 2-0. And then finally, LA got on the board late in the second, making it 2-1 with a Sean Dursey goal. In the third period, they tied it up with a Carl Gunstrom goal. So the Kings kind of came back, but Tyson Barrie put the Oilers up 3-2, and eventually Evander Kane on the empty net scored. So that made it 4-2, and they won the game, forcing a 7th game. So that's gonna be really interesting. Next, another series that will be heading to 7 games. Same score as last game, the Rangers and the Penguins. This one will go to 7, with the Rangers getting the 5-3 victory. Jeff Carter scored their first goal for the Penguins, and Brian Russ scored the second. So they went up 2-0 early in this game, but the Rangers would fight back and eventually would, win this game 5-3. Just a really good game from the Rangers. They had a lot of momentum later on in the game, and I think the Rangers are sort of a scrappy team that they're able to accept a challenge like that. So that was definitely a good win from them. I won't be surprised if the Rangers win Game 7 just because of their momentum. But the Penguins, they've been not super strong in this one, past the lead they had. So in the second period, Mika Zibanejad got a goal for the Rangers. Eventually, he got their second one as well, making it 2-2. Chris Kreider scored. Malkin tied it up. It was back and forth. Shesterkin played really good for the Rangers, and they eventually won it. Kreider, got the lead, and then Kopp scored on the empty net. Next, we have the Panthers advancing to the next round with an overtime victory in Game 6 over the Washington Capitals. This was a pretty good series, honestly. I mean, I knew Florida would win it, but still, it was pretty interesting. The first goal came from Nick Dowd, actually, on the Caps. So they got early momentum, but the next goal came from Ryan Lomberg of the Florida Panthers, making it 1-1. And eventually, Backstrom scored for the Caps, making it 2-1. Guerreau scored for the Panthers. Barkov scored it, getting the lead. However, 1 minute left on the empty net attack. Oshie ties it up for the Caps. In overtime, though, Verhaeghe scores for the Florida Panthers, winning them the series. So it was a walk-off goal, so to speak. Next, the Flames and the Stars. The Stars force a Game 7 with a 4-2 victory over the Flames. This is a really good series as well. I mean, all the series are really good, but this one in particular, Jake Oettinger got the first goal for Dallas. Michael Raffle got this, put him up 2-0 with the second goal. Michael Stone got the Flames on the board. Michael Backlund of the Flames, Mikael Backlund got the game-tying goal, and that made it 2-2 in the second. Heiskanen got the Stars the lead, making it 3-2. But eventually, the Stars would play pretty good defense, getting a goal from Sagan at the end, and won the game, and they'll force us to Game 7. So anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts on this. I'll see you guys later, and peace out.